Hello, my name is Nguyen, and I will be reviewing Confidence, Not Consistency, Characterizes Flashbulb Memory by Jennifer Talarico and David Rubin. If you're unaware of flashbulb memory, let me explain. Flashbulb memories are a significant event that occurs so shocking that it makes it possible to remember and learn the event more vividly. Examples that are the assassination of Osama bin Laden and the attack of September 11th. This research revolves around the 9/11 attack, so I will be able to give further detail on the correlation between the terrorist attack and flashbulb memory. Keep in mind that language and emotions are a big effect on the study. The research is quite simple and straightforward. There are 54 college students that were guided from Duke University. There are 14 males and 40 females. Researchers had collected everybody and the following day after the terrorist attack. Participants are now randomly assigned into three different groups. The first group will be questioned and tested a week after the event, and the second group will be interviewed after 6 weeks, and the third group will come back after 32 weeks. The reason for this big time gap is because researchers are looking for the consistency in flashbulb memory. By measuring a big time gap, such as 32 weeks later, it will be easier to see if participants can vividly remember the event after a long period of time. The general hypothesis for this study is that shocking events such as the 9/11 attack had more impact in memory, more so than everyday memory. The point is the emotional attachment to the terrorist attack. This should create a more deeper connection and vividness to the memory. In this case of the study, the researchers are focusing on negative events. That's why 9/11 are used as an example for this study. Researchers' methods and testing procedures all revolves around questionnaires and surveys. Participants go through countless of self-rating questions and score themselves from 1 to 7, 1 as in not at all and 7 as in very likely. The first questionnaire is about autobiographical memory questionnaire. This is a self-rating scale that measures and assesses various properties of autobiographical memory. Next, researchers were able to develop new questions called recollection, which measures by collapsing responses such as I feel as though I'm reliving the experience, and while remembering the event now, I feel that I traveled back to the time it happened itself. The next questionnaire I find myself was interesting. This is regarding language as a category. Participants were asked if the memory is seen in words or pictures. And I find this important because the view of the memory is either seen as a coherent story or as an observation. The next questionnaire is about emotion. Since researchers consider emotion as a special mechanism that affects the flashbulb phenomenon, researchers looked into the aspect of the participants' memory. The questions were asking the participants' current emotional intensity to the event. Participants were also asked if they felt if their emotion were strongly as it was to the day the attack happened and how they felt of it today. There were also other questions regarding how they felt, such as if they were feeling tense, sweaty, or had butterflies in their stomach prior to the day of and today. The last bit of the questionnaire is that is there a positive valence in emotional tone versus a negative valence during this event? And at the near end, there are other small questionnaires that recollected the whole scaling, and participants would just have to answer more questions as if they felt more inclined to the event or they were more attacked by the event. The second session is very similar and quite identical to the first session. The second session is different because it focuses on everyday memories rather than flashbulb memories. The questions and surveys are the same as is from the first session, and it all still revolves around the 9/11 attack. Participants in this group were also asked to take a PTSD checklist for a specific experience. There could be a different result in regarding the flashbulb memory and everyday memory if participant had PTSD or not. The results were a bit interesting. It showed that there were no difference in the consistency between flashbulb and everyday memory. The figures and tables in the next slide will show the inconsistency of each report as time passes. Although even though there are no consistency in the flashbulb memory, there are other remarkable results regarding language and emotion. Flashbulb memory scored very high in emotional intensity and high negative valence. It also scored high in narrative coherence. It was important to the researchers that if flashbulb memories were more consistent over time than everyday memories. In the figure 1, the mean numbers of consistent and inconsistent detail were similar to the flashbulb and everyday memories, same as the pattern over time. The number of inconsistent detail affect the session as it was omitted because there would not be enough detail in the first session. As time passed, a lot of memories were decaying and it showed the result decreasing, and also the consistency detail were also increasing. The article pointed out that both memories, flashbulb and everyday, that at most 25% of the consistent detail at any time period came from the same individual recall question, so that these results were not driven by any one category of response. Remember, flashbulb memories are not immune to forgetting, nor are they uncommonly consistent over time. The results in the figures and table show that the evidence for flashbulb memories are very inconsistent and that the special mechanism for the flashbulb memories were exaggerated in the belief of the memory accuracy. Because the memory were so attached to the emotional belief, that this led to the belief that flashbulb memories are more accurate than everyday memories, when in fact it is not. As you can see in the table and graph, these are the results from the research. On the left side of the figure, you can see the consistency decreasing in both flashbulb and everyday memory, and the inconsistency keeps rising as the consistent memory keeps decreasing. The recollection memory in everyday and flashbulb memory differ, and same for the beliefs. Although you can see on the third figure on the bottom that flashbulb memory vividness are very high, whereas everyday consistently keeps dropping.